Hello, Goblins. This is Shy Twilight, your friendly book glutton.
And 'tis I, Hammy, your local trope connoisseur.
And we are the Trope Goblins. Today, we'll be discussing Rites of the Starling and Devney Perry.
We're really getting into the meat of this fantasy book, and we will also be talking about her contemporary romances.
To start our conversation about this book, we must first do a quick recap of the first. Skip to 234 for our review. Shield of Sparrows follows Princess Odessa as she grapples with the reality of a sudden arranged marriage to Prince Xavier Wolf that was never meant for her. An ancient contract signed with blood and magic that was originally supposed to involve her sister. She is then presented with an impossible task: spy on her husband and murder the elusive guardian, a task her sister had trained for years. She's given no other explanation. This is a world filled with magic and monsters, so the journey is, by its very nature, dangerous. Along the way, Odessa discovers that the person she thought was Xavier Wolf is a decoy, and her true husband is none other than the Guardian himself. There's a lot of in-between about a sickness affecting the monsters, and then the book ends on a cliffhanger, as the next monster migration seemingly begins, where creatures known as the Crux fly down from the sky and murder indiscriminately. The next book picks up with two POVs, Odessa and a woman named Caspia. Caspia is a princess and a shapeshifter from a different continent. The book follows these two women as they journey through their world. Caspia journeys to an unknown land to search for her missing sister and is stopped on the way by a handsome man named Andreas. Of course they fall in love. Would it be a romantasy if they didn't? And eventually they end up at Odessa's father's castle, seemingly. The migration that we thought was beginning was only an anomaly, but Odessa spends her time kidnapped by a priest and jaunting through the countryside. Lots of things go wrong, but eventually she does meet back up with Ransom, her husband, and they finally land at her father's castle. The last half of the book mainly revolves around researching the illness and some other things that would take far too long to explain, but it ends with us finding out that Caspia is actually Odessa's mom, and Andreas, well, he's the king. And the entirety of that POV is actually set in the past. It ends with Odessa and Ransom learning they have to find some magical objects that are poisoning their land and causing the monsters to be dangerous. No big deal. This is by no means a comprehensive recap of these books, but I hope it helps. So, Rites of the Starling. What were some of our initial thoughts?
My initial thought at the start was I thought that this was going to be more enjoyable than the first one, and I had hope.
Were you having high expectations going into the book, or did you actually have a spark of hope reading the first chapter?
Okay, I had no expectations going into this book. I'm going to be so honest with you. I had hope because the first few chapters, I felt like it was a better story so far, or at least the writing had improved from the first one. I felt as if Odessa wasn't asking so many questions.
Yeah, she does ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I was confused at the beginning for approximately a chapter, because on Goodreads I even said, who the F is Caspia?
That really pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, so as a person that really enjoyed the first book, genuinely, I loved it. I was recommending it to people. It was my cup of tea. Okay, I know it was not yours, but it was my cup of tea. When I first started this book, I thought I was missing something with Caspia, because the way that she wrote the first chapter, it felt like we should already know this person. We should already know the character she's talking about. And I was just like, oh, did I miss something on my recap? Did I forget about an entire character? And then I just also don't like the idea of introducing a new POV of a brand new character cold like that in the second book.
That's kind of where my complaint was, because the first book, the way it ended, I expected it to pick up right where we left off and just hit the ground running. But then Caspia really slowed the momentum for me. I didn't like how it was just, like you said, it was a cold insert. We had no introduction. We had no idea.
I was lost. I don't normally get lost in books like that, but it genuinely threw me off that hard. So that was my initial reaction to the first couple of chapters. I was really freaking confused.
Yeah, it clicked what was going on. I think Caspia's second or third chapter, I was like, oh, okay, I understand what's happening now. I don't like it.
It shouldn't take that long though. We're getting too far into the grapes. Ooh, our bad. But like, that was my first initial reaction. I was excited. I was excited to read the book.
A lot of people were excited. I was excited for everyone who enjoyed the first one because I know what it's like to wait years for another book in a series. Trust me, I've been waiting, Patrick Rothfuss. So I understand, like, the wait it's hard, especially when it does end on a cliffhanger, and a lot of people really did fall in love with the story and Odessa, and oh my gosh, what is his name?
The Guardian?
Yeah, what's his real name?
Shit. 1 second. I'm Googling it. I forgot to.
I'm like,
I've read so many books since
I've
then.
read so many, and he wasn't a big character in the second book that much compared to the first one.
No, he really wasn't there at all. Yeah. We got one chapter of his POV, and then he never popped up as another POV.
I was fine with that.
That pissed me off personally. Because if we're going to have a POV, which I hate books that have several POVs, by the way, it always irritates me. At least make it consistent.
That's fair. I felt like it was a narrative device, though, because I've read a lot of books where a character doesn't have a POV until either the beginning of the next book or the end of the first one, and it's only one chapter, and it's so you can kind of see the culmination of all their thoughts throughout the book, and I do like when writers do that.
It's Ransom.
Ransom.
His name's Ransom.
That's right. That's right. I remember.
I always call him the Guardian. Like, even in a book, like, we just call him the Guardian all the time. It's hard to remember what his real name is.
Ransom.
So as someone that thought that I thought the cliffhanger was really well done in book 1, like, that really drew me into the story so hard. Like, it was like a smack. Like, I loved it. The pickup of the second book,
it felt slow.
It's like, okay, we should start with the things that we like, and then we can start talking about our grapes.
Okay.
I really got into this book in the last half, and I really it made me cry. It did. Like, when, like, okay, I guess we can talk about our grapes. Let's talk about our grapes, because the first half of the book is my book gripe. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, fine. We'll be negative first.
No, okay.
I wanted to be positive first.
Let's be positive first, because first of all, I just want everyone to know that if you enjoyed this book, I'm so happy for you. Like, you go, girl. You go, boy. You go, whoever. Okay?
Yeah.
You go. I'm happy for you. I'm rooting for you. I can't wait for you to read book 3. It was not my cup of tea.
So we talked about how slow the beginning of the book felt. It took me until about 50% away through the book before I was really like, oh my God, I have to get to the next page. I think had this not been an assignment for our podcast, I maybe wouldn't have finished the book.
Okay, yeah.
To be honest, I wouldn't have gotten to that tipping point of, oh, I'm actually into it, because it took so long to get there.
It was a long book. So was the first one. A lot of books are a bit... I think that this book would be more enjoyable, both the first and second one, had they been shorter. Because I think they're like 600 pages or something. You can fact check me on that. And that's a long book, in my opinion. I've read longer, I've read shorter, but I find a lot of romanticies right now heading into that 600 to 700 page territory when they don't need to be. A lot of people will say, oh, the world building, but I know what the world looks like. But that's not my type of world building. I felt like it was 600 pages mentally.
It felt long.
It felt really long, and that's my gripe.
Book details. It's 468 pages, hardcover version. It's really not that many pages.
No, I'll redact my statement, but it felt really long.
The first half of the book was such a slog. And it's mainly because I really despise the introduction to Caspia. I understand if you look at the book as like a whole.
Yeah, I understand why she did it that way.
I understand why she was important.
Yeah.
I love her as a character once we got to the meat and bones of the book. But in the beginning of the book, I'm like, why are you here? Who are you?
I enjoyed her more than Odessa.
She did seem more level-headed than Odessa, which makes sense.
My gripe with Odessa in the first book was she felt very flat. Like, you could insert her into any story and she would somehow work. If you took Odessa out of the story and replaced her with something else, would it still work?
And I think, too, that might be maybe a syndrome of wanting people to be able to insert themselves into the character.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was like a common thing, because I've seen a lot of books being targeted as, if you don't want to have to insert yourself into the character, this is the book for you.
I've known it was a thing since like Twilight. Like, that's the one that like is really notorious for me. She's like, Bella is kind of a Mary Sue. on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have to talk about Twilight. Sorry, I didn't mean like.
I read that so long ago.
I'm just using it as an example of like insert yourself into it, and I think that's also like as a teenager why I enjoyed Twilight so much. And I think as a teenager, if I was younger, these two books would have easily landed on my top like 10 I've ever read.
By far, if I had read it 10 years ago, oh man, I would have had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. It's a me issue. I think is what it boils down to. It's a me issue. I've read too much fantasy and too much romantasy and too much romance to where if something happens, I'm like, I think I know the plot twist. And unfortunately, with both books, I did guess the plot twist very early on, so it took the excitement out of reading it, because the second Caspia and her sister land, I'm like, oh, they're the rabid magical animals, all right.
So magic rabies, you say?
Yeah, so I call the infection magical rabies because in book 1, when they're camping and this animal comes and beats up Ransom, and it's described like with the, it just like it couldn't get down and it was green and whatever. And I was like, yeah, it's magical rabies because when it bites another animal, it spreads. So I think they need a rabies vaccination. I think that would be very beneficial for everyone in the country.
That's what they're working towards, isn't it? A rabies vaccination? Like they're literally...
Yeah, basically, it's a rabies vaccination. Yeah. So yeah, I call it magical rabies because it's magic and it spreads by freaking saliva.
So, okay, so I know I'm kind of stupid. I didn't realize for a really long time that Caspia and Odessa were in different timelines. I didn't realize. That's fair. Like, I was literally sitting there thinking to myself, how the are you guys not running into each other in the kingdom?
When you texted me why they haven't met each other, I was like, girl.
I kept on waiting for it. I'm like, she's going into the art room. Oh, this is where they're gonna meet as well. She's in the art room. This is it. They're
finally gonna intersect.
I kept on waiting for it because I'm like, once they meet each other, I felt like more really cool stuff was gonna happen. And then I think I guessed that they were sisters. I'm like,
that's a fair guess.
They share the same mom. I'm like, yeah, they must share the same mom. Like that's how like her mom disappeared when she was a kid. Okay, easy peasy. It sincerely took until they revealed it for me to realize. And once that was revealed, it ruined the love story.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Speaking of that, the way that I was pissed, because her dad and her sister and her stepmom treat her like garbage, dude, in the first one. Like, all she talks about is can't wait to get away from them and stuff like that. And, like, her sister hates her and all this stuff. And then it turns out, we were just protecting you. I hate when books do that. Any book. Because that does not erase the amount of trauma you put on a person because you were and abuse because you were trying to protect them. And I'm so even though he's like, oh, my wife, don't touch her, get a blanket or whatever he said, I did not care. I didn't like him. No tears shed for me.
Like, I loved him so much as a character, and then to realize that how hard Caspia would hate this man if she knew how he treated their daughter.
That's what I'm saying.
She would hate him.
She died for her.
She sacrificed herself. If she knew how this man, the man-child, I should say, was treating their daughter just because, like, she reminds me so much of you. You remind me so much of your mother. I don't care.
Yep.
That is not an excuse.
If something happened to my husband, I would not look at my daughter and be like, oh, you just remind me so much of him. I'd be like, oh my gosh, you remind me so much of him. Let me do whatever you want. Would you want me to spend $10,000 on you? Okay. You want a mansion? Let's go in debt, baby.
It just doesn't make sense for the person that we've spent the book with.
Yeah.
Like this man, it just like the two people, they feel so, and I think that's partially why I didn't catch sooner.
Fair.
That Caspia and what's his name? Oh shoot.
Starts with an A.
Andreas. His name is Andreas.
Okay, so I was close with Anders.
I was really loving his character, and I was like, oh, he's devoted. Oh, like blah blah blah. Like I liked him a lot. Like his actions pre Caspia's death just don't make sense for his actions post Caspia's death.
Exactly. And that's why I just didn't like how that went on. Now I'm going to say something I like about the book. I did like that the focus was more on the fantasy side of the book this time. Because Ransom doesn't appear until, like, what, halfway through the book? I don't like how he appears. I felt like it was like a Deus Machina kind of situation. And those aren't my cup of tea, personally.
It was like pure fate. She would have died without him.
Plot armor for real. I didn't like that. Just Caspia is written like she's such a strong character and can like fight her own battles, but she can't. She never has. And that's what I don't like. But what I was saying about what I did like, my bad, got off topic, was I liked that it was more on the fantasy side and the romance kind of took a backseat because Ransom was not in the picture. And I think that did the book justice. Personally.
Well, and I think too it allowed Andreas and Caspia to their love story to kind of breathe.
It did.
Because if it was two love stories going on at the same time, I feel like it would have been a bit much.
It would have been a bit much.
Because Caspia and Andreas's story is supposed to be epic. Like it's supposed to be like this epic love.
Mm-hmm.
Blah 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 blah. I love the way that they made the magic system work. The fact that the only reason the crux and the monsters are monsters is because the land is poisoned by magic.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Such an interesting concept.
Magical rabies.
While it took the weirdest road to get to that realization, the world building in this book was, I think, my favorite part of the book. If the POVs had just been done better, I think this would have been a 4-star read for me.
If Odessa spent a little less time traveling. Because my thing with books and traveling and going into big cities, if you're explaining how the city works to me, that's cool. But my question is, are we coming back to this city? Do we need to know every single city that she goes through? Because I've read some fantasy series where we're passing through this place, and they don't even explain what the economy looks like or anything, who the people are, because they're passing through. They are not doing anything involving this town, but you have to know that they're going through the town for a plot point, you know? I
did like some of the people she met along the way, though.
I did like what's the lady with the sword? I liked the bandit group. Yeah, I also thought she had more charisma with that one guy than Ransom. Personally.
Yeah, they were flirting really hardcore, weren't they? I was really confused. He was flirting with her, and she was kind of like
hardcore. Yeah, I thought that they had more charisma than her and Ransom. Also, let's stop saying enemies to lovers. This is not enemies to lovers. It is an arranged marriage with a rival nation, but they're not. That's it. They're not enemies. They're not. She doesn't hate him. Like at the beginning, she's just kind of like, oh, I'm leaving home. I have not read a lot of recent enemies to lovers where I feel like they're true enemies and hate each other.
I also think that the second book, I would have liked it more if the first book and it were at all similar. They're so different from one another. The tone, everything about it.
I will read the third book because at this point, I've put enough skin in the game that I need to know how it ends. Yeah. Okay? I don't even care if I
do. I want to know how it ends.
I want to know how it ends because I truly need to know how they cure magical rabies.
Yeah, I will be reading the next book. I don't know if I'll be clamoring to get it release day, but
to segue into Devney Perry's other work, I think Devney Perry's strengths are in contemporary romance, and I assumed that it was because when I was reading Rites of the Starling, a lot of the dialogue felt contemporary. I don't know if you ran into that kind of thought or not. But it felt to me, a lot of the lines they were saying, it felt just very contemporary, where I was like, I have to read one of her contemporary romances. So I did. And I enjoyed it so much more than Rites of the Starling and Shield of Sparrows.
Which book did you read and what was it about?
I read Indigo Ridge. And let me tell you, this book follows Winslow. I love that name, by the way. She is going back to her small little town that her grandpa is the mayor of to be sheriff. The book opens up with her going to a local bar. Then Mr. Handsome Cowboy, rough small town romance man walks in. And she's like, So they start talking. And his name's Griffin, by the way. But the entire book, I need you to know I did not say Griffin. I was like Griffith, like from Berserk. I know how this man is described, but in my head, he's Griffin. They talk to each other. They're kind of kind of like, ooh, where are you from? They both kind of phrase it like they're not from town. So in their head, they're like, oh, they don't live here, which means I can take. They have a one-night stand, and you do not read their one-night stand, which thank you. I thought was well done. And it's the next morning after where she wakes up and she's late for work, goes to work, and she goes out to lunch with her grandpa. And at lunch, guess who's there?
One night stand man.
He is the son of the big family in the town, the Edens. They're both like, I thought you weren't from here. He has a reputation in town.
Oh.
He does not mix with the town folk. He's a tourist taker. So that's why
The unattainable.
Yeah, that's why, because he's like, I don't want things to get complicated. Well, guess what? Things get complicated because they can't keep their hands off of each other. The romance, good. 5 stars, okay? I enjoyed it. Spice, low. What got me was the mystery aspect. Okay? I don't read a lot of...
There's a mystery aspect?
There's a mystery aspect. Okay, so she's sheriff. First day or second day of her working, there's a call that comes in. A body is found on Indigo Ridge. Okay?
And it's a small town.
It's a small town. But when she gets there, guess who's already there? Griffin. He calls it in. So she shows up, and she's like, oh, this is weird. And everyone sounds like, yeah, it's just another suicide. And she just knows something is off. I did not get the twist. I will say it. I was flabbergasted. I did a little... I don't read a lot of contemporary romances. I don't read a lot of small town romances, because when I do read a contemporary romance, I go to my good old girl Lucy score. I need the Hallmark. I need the cheesy. But the next time I want a little popcorn read, I do think that I will probably pick up the next book in the series. That's where I'll leave mine. But I know you also read a contemporary romance from Debney Berry.
I did. I did some digging because I wanted to make sure it would be something that I would actually be my cup of tea. Because a lot of the ones that were listed are like second chance romance, small town romance. And I'm like, no, I'm not really feeling that right now. But then I found book 3 in I forget, it's a specific town, I think probably, that it's named after. But this book is called The Outpost. So it's about Sabrina, who is an investigative journalist from the city. I think Seattle or something. So she's from the city, and she lands herself into some hot water. And this is the part where I'm kind of I wish I read the previous couple of books, because it does feel kind of like I would understand more of how she got herself in this position. But she angers a gangster family that is selling guns. And because she uncovers who they are, and so she has to go on the run because he freaking beats her up. She's just bruised, battered, and broken.
Okay.
And he almost kills her.
Jeez.
Yeah, but she gets away. Yeah.
Okay, go girl.
So then she runs to her, I know, right? She runs to her best friend who lived in a small town. I think Montana. Yeah, in Montana. Her best friend lives in a small town in Montana, and they come up with the idea to stow her away in something called an outpost. So basically, in the woods, in the wilderness or whatever. You have these places that are completely off-grid. They have no Wi-Fi. They have no telephone service. They're there for people who combat forest fires. It's like a forest fire thing. So this is the kind of cabin that it barely has plumbing. Okay. So she had to go hide. Mm-hmm. Now, who is going to hide her exactly, you may ask?
Yes, who? Tell me.
His name is Beau. He likes his life quiet and simple. Give him a peaceful day hiking in the woods with his dog, and he's a happy man. He has no use for large crowds at noisy cities or dramatic women. Mind you, Sabrina is a city girl.
And dramatic.
So he's his whole job is forest fire fighting, and he's a ranger and blah blah blah, all that thing. So he agrees to take his, I think, best friend's friends to the outpost in the middle of nowhere. It's 4 or 5 hours from town. I don't even know. I never really got the gist of it. They're both instantly attracted to each other, okay? Instantly. But they agree when they get to the cabin that things are kind of complicated, so they can't give in to their attraction or things would get weird. So the main tropes of this book are forced proximity. Oh, I was eating that shit up. I really was. Small town romance. and like there's just a lot of suspense. It's also technically a slow burn, I guess, if you could really call it. Kind of like it, since it's a standalone book, I feel like we gotta remember, okay, it's a standalone book, and it's pretty much almost the end of the book before
Okay, yeah, that's a slow burn then. Okay.
they do sleep in the same bed a couple of times because she's scared or whatever. Like, so one bed per trope.
Ooh.
I loved this story so much. Like, she's a writer, and she finally uses she hates at first. She's so scared to be in this cabin all alone in the middle of the woods because this guy does still have to go to work every once in a while.
Yeah.
I admire her as a character because she doesn't complain a lot. She didn't pout. None of that stuff. She kind of just like took the situation as it was.
You know what? The main character in Indigo Ridge also didn't like have any like pouting, or she took
Yeah.
everything and strode with it,
Yeah.
which I don't get from Odessa.
And I think that like the way that this book was written, it was just, it had, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I think she wrapped it up so well.
Yes.
Whereas we don't really get much of a wrap up, and because this is going to be a 3-book series where it's not an anthology. I really enjoyed The Outpost. I devoured that shit. I loved the love story. It felt realistic. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed both Shields of Sparrow and Rites of Starling.
See, that's how I felt about Indigo Ridge. I could see myself finishing that series, especially because I consider them like little popcorn reads, the reads that you have in between the big reads, or when you read something where you have to use 100% of your brain power, you can read a little popcorn book, I think if Daphne Perry wrote another fantasy, I personally, that's not something I would pick up, just because I've read her fantasy now and I've read contemporary, and I will always choose her contemporary over her fantasy. Theories on what you think is going to happen in the last book?
Well, obviously they're going to be on a magical quest to find all of the thingies to destroy them.
The Cursey boys.
Yeah. They kind of like rushed through it a little bit, I felt like, finding them in this book. So I feel like maybe the ones in the next book might be hopefully more difficult for them to get their hands on.
Yeah. I wonder, though, how it's going to wrap up. Because is it supposed to be a trilogy, or is it going to be longer? Yeah. If it's a trilogy, I really question how well it's going to end. She has got a lot to wrap up.
I think there's probably going to be like a war. And I think it's going to turn their continent into a completely different landscape, especially because the Treaty of Sparrows is going to fall apart without magic. So what's that going to mean? So I think the ending of this book, it might be maybe a lead up into another set of books or something. Because yeah, you're right. It feels like too much for one book.
Because it's either going to be really long, which please don't, or it's going to have too many questions unanswered.
I could see them skipping looking for the objects and they just find them all.
But that's boring.
And then the story is centered around trying to destroy them. Or maybe they can't get their hands on the last one, because I bet you the last one's going to be in the Guardians like kingdom, in that like,
yeah,
and that's like going to be the major boss one. Like they have to get their hands on that one. That one has, I think, probably a temple on it, is what I get the vibes. It has a temple on it, and it's really hidden. Like they can't find it. That being said, what is our official rating of the book?
As together or separate?
Separate. So you go first.
I gave it a 1-star read. Like I said, it just wasn't for me. And that's okay. Not every book you read is gonna be a banger. It was too predictable for me, and that's why I didn't enjoy it.
I think I've settled into a 3-star. Because I didn't despise it. Like anything below 3 stars, I hated it. I only have physical books in my collection that I love. I wouldn't buy this book physically. It doesn't deserve a spot on my favorites list. It was just okay.
I do want to say, if you are interested in reading it, it's on Kindle Unlimited. So is the Indigo Ridge,
Contemporary,
the Edens series. Those are all on Kindle Unlimited as well. So if you want to figure out the mystery and if there's suicides or not, it is on Kindle Unlimited.
And if you find one of their per books in the anthology series that you think sounds interesting, it is still easy to pick up the book in the middle of the anthology. I did say that, like, oh, I feel like I would have had more context with this, and this, and this. And like, yeah, but that's just interesting me to go backwards and read the other books more than it is confusing me for the current read.
So those were our tropey little goblin thoughts. Send us recommendations, because We need all of the recommendations. If you liked Rites of the Starling and you disagree with everything we said, tell us. Let us know. That's the Trope Goblins. Hot takes.
Okay, it's not a hot take. I liked it. I just didn't love it.
I think mine's a hot take, and I'm sorry. I really am.
It's okay. You can be the contrarian. You're the trope connoisseur.
Oh.
You like things a little. You like things elevated. I'm down here reading trash, and I enjoy trash. Bye.
Bye.